These figures are somewhat incomprehensible to the human mind. Tell it to me again. What is the balance again?
If you were to disturb the ratio of the electromagnetic force to the gravitational force by as little as 1 part in 10,000 trillion.
That's probably more than the atoms in the universe.
Well, not quite. There's
Not
10
quite.
to the 79 protons and neutrons in the universe. But you know what? I didn't give you my best example.
No.
My best example would be the fine-tuning in dark energy.
Let's talk about this dark energy, because I understand when you look out in the heavens, look up at the stars, we only see a tiny percentage of what's really out there, but we see less than 1%. Is it not true? When we see the light, the stars.
Yeah, we now know that the universe is dominated by dark stuff.
How
The
much?
stars and galaxies and the gas clouds that we see make up only 0.27% of all the stuff of the universe. The universe is 99.73% dark stuff.
This is somewhat recent discovery?
Well, it's difficult to detect the dark stuff because it's not going to emit light. We detected it by looking at the gravitational influence that the dark stuff imposes on the stuff we can see.
Most of the stuff is dark stuff.
Right.
We see it. We don't see it.
Well, we don't see its light, but we do see its gravitational influence.
We know it exists.
We know it exists, and we know it has 3 different forms. And by the way, the Bible said it first. It's in Job 38, 19, and 20, where God asks the question, do you know where darkness resides? Can you take me to its place? What I found interesting reading that when I was 19 years of age is that it's actually saying that darkness is a substance. I was taught as a young man that darkness is simply the absence of light.
Yes.
But the Bible says it's a substance. It says it's got locations.
Quite amazing.
Well, what's really amazing is we know there's 3 different kinds of darkness, and we know that the quantity of the 3 different kinds of darkness gives us the most spectacular evidence we have today for supernatural, superintelligent design. The second most spectacular evidence is the specific locations of the 3 different kinds of darkness. It's like God in the book of Job was pointing us to the most powerful evidences in nature for his supernatural handiwork.
Now, the universe is expanding.
Yes.
This is a fact.
Yes.
That cannot be debated. Because
the
universe,
evidence.
No.
Yeah.
The universe is expanding. What relationship is there between the expansion of the universe and some of this dark matter or dark energy?
Well, the universe is expanding at almost a constant rate. And that's one way we get the age of the universe. You know, look at the size of the universe, divide by the expansion rate, that gives you the age. An easy calculation. But today we can measure the cosmic expansion rate with sufficient precision that we realize that the universe was expanding at a rate about 1% less when it was young and about 1% more at its current stage.
It's going a little faster.
It's going a little faster. And that's what actually led to the discovery of dark energy. Dark energy is the energy embedded in the space surface of the universe. And the universe is kind of analogous to planet Earth. Earth is 3 dimensions, but we live on the 2-dimensional surface of the 3-dimensional Earth. All the stars and galaxies, all of matter and energy is constrained to the 3-dimensional surface of the 4-dimensional expanding universe. And what we now recognize is that because of dark energy, as the universe expands, the surface gets bigger and bigger, and therefore the influence of dark energy to accelerate the expansion of the universe gets stronger and stronger as time goes by. And matter works the opposite way. I mean, everybody knows that if you got 2 massive bodies, the law of gravity means that they will tend to attract one another, and the closer they are together, the more powerfully they attract. Well, when the universe is young, the bits and pieces of matter are close together, and therefore there's a powerful break on the cosmic expansion. But as the universe expands, the bits and pieces of matter get spread apart, gravity gets weaker and weaker, and its capacity to slow down cosmic expansion. Dark energy is just the opposite. It's weakest when the space surface is small, and strongest when it is large.
A moment ago, you said you were going to give us an amazing piece of evidence that points to a great designer, and you said this was tied up with this dark stuff.
Exactly.
Tell me about it.
Okay, well, in order...
And make it simple so I can get this, you know.
I think this will be simple.
Because I think the people out there are saying, just make this simple. So, Doctor, make this simple. This is great material. And this helps me to be forced into the position where I must believe in a creator God.
Okay, here's how simple it is. If you expand the universe too quickly from the cosmic creation event, the bits and pieces of matter will fly apart from one another so rapidly that gravity will never be able to collect any of that stuff to make stars and planets. But if you expand the universe too slowly, then gravity is going to collect everything into black holes and neutron stars.
Yes.
In order to get the stars and planets that are going to be optimal for life, especially advanced life, you have to expand the universe at just the right rates, at just the right times, throughout all of cosmic history. And it's such that we have to fine-tune dark energy to better than 1 part in 10 to the 122nd power. That's 122 zeros after the 1. And in order to make a point here, because, you know, my peers in astronomy and physics who are not believers in Jesus Christ would agree with me that the physics demands that there must be a causal agent beyond space and time that creates the universe. So in one sense, they're deists. They believe that there is something beyond the universe that makes the universe.
Because of the odds.
But they deny that God is personal. Well, how we refute that is say, if you look at the dark energy, it must be fine-tuned to within 1 part in 10 to the 122nd power to make life possible, let alone human life. Now, I can compare that with the very best example of human engineering design. The best example I could give you of a humanly engineered design instrument would be the gravity wave telescope known as LIGO. Most amazing machine ever built. It can make measurements to 1 part in 10 to the 23rd power. But notice this best designed machine that's ever been done by human beings ranks 10 to the 98 times inferior to the level of design we see in dark energy that makes our existence possible. You know what that tells me about this agent beyond space and time? He's at least 10 trillion times more intelligent and more knowledgeable than the Caltech and MIT physicists that designed this amazing instrument, and at least that many times better funded than the U.S. government that made it all possible. Therefore, this agent beyond space and time must be a personal being, because only a personal being can manifest the attributes of intellect, knowledge, creativity.
How great
and
this
power.
God must be.
How great this God
and
must be.
And he became a man in the person of Christ.
He did. He did.
This is almost too much for us to take in, isn't it? Well, it is too much for us to take in.
Well, let me put it more simply, too. I mean, you've got people like Richard Dawkins.
You sound like an evangelist.
Yeah, well, I am an evangelist. But I mean, I see these people like Stephen Hawking and Richard Dawkins and Victor Stenger making points like, you know, there is no God. It all came from matter. But how can the conscious come from the non-conscious? How can the living come from the non-living? How can the mindful come from that which has no mind? How can the spiritual come from that which is not spiritual?